Very proud of the way the guys played. I think you saw a little bit of everything in this game. I wish we had been cleaner in some areas. JMU's tough. You could watch those at-bats. Those guys are very competitive. They know what they're doing. I thought they handled Carson well. Carson pitched okay, but they made it difficult. They laid off some very good sliders, I thought. I'll go back and look at the game, but their at-bats were very good, and it took all we had to handle this one today. Diamez in his first college game clearly was a catalyst for us, and Carry on the other end of that has been through a lot of this, and he also had some very good at-bats. I thought overall our at-bats were okay. I mean, there were some moments we could have probably capitalized more, and I thought we ran the bases fairly well. You can see the aggressiveness. I like it. There was a few instances where it wasn't quite like on point with the base running, but we stole some bases, and I thought the guys pressured it a little bit. And when you pressure and you are active, you tend to force people into things that they don't like doing, and you see some mistakes. So I like the way our guys ran the bases. Nander got the one bunt down, and we had some other chances. The way they were playing defensively, we didn't quite execute how we had hoped with the short game in some spots. But the combination of using Wyatt at that moment to settle the game down, which is exactly what we thought we might have to do to get out of the gates. He was dynamic, and he took control of the game, and the double plays helped, no doubt. The 3-6-1, and then Cam stepping on third base and throwing across was a very key play. And the 6-4-3 in the seventh then led to the strikeout, and here we come in the eighth, and we had a really good eighth inning. I think Nander and Vincent and Diamez, I think, eventually shot that ball down the left field line. So a good, solid win. We have to play better in some areas, and then some of the guys that get opportunities to come in there and try to get us a few outs, they need to be more efficient and execute their stuff a little bit better, and they will.
How did Carson handle the 4 innings he got?
I thought it was okay. Again, JMU, they have some older guys, tougher. Their at-bats were pretty good, and it's a mixture of lefties and righties, which doesn't really allow you to settle in and kind of pitch in one quadrant. So it was okay. I thought he would have struck out more than I think he struck out one guy. I thought he threw some pitches that could have finished guys, and they did a good job of laying off of him. I mean, credit to them, and they battled and grinded out some at-bats.
Sure, putting a freshman in that leadoff spot isn't something you do lightly. I guess what is it about Diamez, the preseason he had, that warranted that? How nice is it for him to validate that right away?
Well, you can tell when you speak with him and watch him work that he understands himself and the game and what he's doing. And he's a savvy base runner. He's a savvy center fielder. And if we feel like that's a role that he could play, we needed to kind of get into it right now, because that's not an easy task to go lead off in your first college game. It's not. But he had showed us the traits that we look for in that type of role, and we wanted him to go get experience just like Cam as a freshman batting second. And they're going to have bumps in the road. As you experience this, Cam made some comments that he's like, Coach, I'd never seen that. Well, you've seen it now, so chalk it up and let's go, and they'll grow from this. But when you have guys that you think can help you in certain roles, we wanted to go ahead and try to get into it and get them out there.
Did it feel different for you? You've been in a lot of opening days. Was this different, unique? Did it hit you at the anthem or anything like that?
It did. It did. And, you're looking up in the crowd before the game, and there's so many people that and that are pulling for you. They're pulling for the team, obviously, and then people that you've known for 20, 25, 30 years are here, and that's very unique. As this thing's winding down, like throughout the course of the game, and you feel like you're about to get the first win, it's hard to put into words what it felt like to actually walk out here today and hit in and out, as the coach at Florida State, and get into the game and, have that first ball. I'll never forget it, and I'll also never forget the effort. Like, those guys wanted to do this, and they wanted to do it at a very high level, and they're hungry, and I'll remember that feeling in the atmosphere.
It was a nice crowd.
It was great.
Season opener at 5 p.m., kind of cold weather.
Yeah, no, it was great. I think our fans are just fantastic. You've heard me talk about it. The knowledge, the support, the consistency of some of the folks that have been out here for hundreds and in some cases probably thousands of these games from start to finish. fans are the best, and I'm glad they got to see a solid game. It wasn't a perfect game by any stretch, but they saw what I hope we can do and then tighten some things up and maybe be a little bit cleaner.
Are you happy to have some of the first game stuff in the books though now, in the sense of everything that comes with you being back at FSU, so on and so forth?
Yes. I was ready to get into the first inning because the comfort level when you're actually in the game is different than when you're trying to actually get to the first pitch in this setting when there's so many people in the dugout and involved and trying to help, and you have new stuff with the scoreboard you're trying to do, and there's just a lot. So finally, like once you throw the first pitch, you go back a little bit into your comfort zone of trying to compete and trying to piece the game together. So there was a lot, and the competition in the game itself was great, other than the line drive I took off the shin in about the 5th inning of the game. No shot to get out of the way. It was probably better as my shin than something else. So that's the only black mark on my day.
Cam made 3 really tough plays, looked pretty routine at third base. Just how pleased were you to see how comfortable he was defensively?
Brett, it was great. You know, that position, I've told you guys, in my opinion, is the most difficult of the infield positions at this level. You get a lot of stuff that happens over there, and you saw it all on display for him tonight. And we talked about, there was one time he was out of position. We had the tandem relay, and sometimes in the play at the plate, you're like the relay guy to the plate. Well, you've seen us work on that. He kind of drifted back away from the bag, so like he needed to just park himself near the bag, and we might have had another out on one of the trail guys. So he's fantastic talent and works his butt off, but that position is new, and he did handle some really difficult plays with ease. Did a nice job.
Coach, do you feel the eagerness from these guys to want to be able to, showcase what they can do this weekend, and now to get a game under their belt and know
Yes.
that, they got 2 more, and this season can get underway and they can showcase that?
Yes, and they're eager to do the things. That's what I liked today, as much as anything, is you could see them wanting to do the things we had worked on and talked about in practice out there. And that's what I needed, because their desire to actually do some of the things that are new and try to execute it at a high level, that's what I needed to see from a deeper coaching standpoint than just, are you able to produce and win the game? I saw that, and that was really important to me. And I also know that when they didn't do it, they were the first ones to tell me, Coach, I know I was out of position on that. I got it. The bunt, he's like, Coach, I didn't quite have the angle. So those are valuable instinctive piece of when they want to come tell you the good and sometimes the bad. They're engaged.
It seemed like the way you guys used Wyatt went exactly to plan. Just how pleased were you with him and the way he kind of just always stays the same out there? Yeah, we needed it. That middle part of the game, it's hard to necessarily, in college baseball, save somebody to close a game because, like I've discussed, you need to have a game to close. And when that thing's in the balance, it may be the 4th, 5th, 6th inning. If you can settle it and you're running through some of their pitchers, you might find a way to open that game up. And that's exactly what happened. Wyatt's capable of doing a lot of things for the program. I recognize that. He's capable of starting, but this is the reason that we felt like in game 1 and weekend 1, let's keep him in a spot where we know he can be dynamic, and he's had a lot of success to calm things down and help take us home.
Coach, how did getting the win tonight kind of set the tone for the season and the culture you're trying to build here in Tallahassee?
Well, the expectation today was to come out here and find a way to win the game. I talked about we're going to go 1-0. There's going to be a lot of distractions. I mean, how often do you have Coach Norvell and Governor DeSantis in your dugout before the game? There's a lot that's going on. So once we've got to walk out of here 1-0, so focus on that, and that sets the tone for your season. But you can't look at the season. You can only look at today, and now we can reflect on today and try to improve, and then you have to go to 2-0. You have to be ready to go 1-0 tomorrow to get you one step further into this thing. We have a lot to continue to work on. This was not by any stretch as clean as I was hoping it would be, but it was plenty good enough, and the guys clearly competed to figure out a way to get it done and walk out of here opening the season on a positive note.
I know it was only 1 out, but Army seems to be trending in the right direction over the last couple times he's been out there. For him to go out there and just do his job for that 1 out, is that big for him moving forward?
Yes. His stuff is good. You can see it. Like, it's lively stuff. And when he keeps it down and out of the middle of the plate, all of his pitches can play. So I was very impressed. And I think there's more of that in there. It's the consistency and the repeatability. He's an athletic kid, but he's got to really dial in and command the stuff. And he was on it today. Like, it was good. And we're going to need him, and we're going to have to stretch him out more than we did today.
Thank you, Link.
Appreciate it.
This was okay.